Here's a thought. You're not supposed to be doing everything inside of your business. And you're not bad at business if you struggle to let tasks go. Letting go and delegating to other people is actually a skill, but it's one that most practitioners and health coaches struggle with as they begin building their business and growing online. There are questions that come up every day for this, and maybe these questions are on your radar right now. Who do I hire first? What are the most important tasks that only I can do? What will give me back the most time and make the most sense for me to hand off? And these are all questions that I get asked multiple times each week. So I'd like to open the conversation and share with you how I delegate, when you should start delegating stuff, and what I recommend others should delegate to keep growing their business. Because the only way that we continue to take on more clients, make more money, and deepen our impact is to figure out how you can build a business that runs and grows without you. Now, some of you might hear that and go, well, Andrew, I don't want a giant team. Guess what? Neither do I, and that's fine. You don't have to have a giant team to grow, but you do have to start trusting others, because if you are the marketer, the social media poster, the coach, the client delivery person, and the admin, then it's hard for you to have the time and space to work on things that actually move the needle forward of growth. And realistically speaking, you are already delegating a lot to people who aren't on your team officially. You just don't think of it this way. You probably already have an accountant, you have a go-to lawyer that deals with paperwork, and you have a bookkeeper. So those are people that you delegate to. But I would argue also that you have technology you delegate stuff to all the time, like your CRM that schedules emails in advance, or whatever software does your billing for you. There is an infinite amount of ways that you can build your business to provide you the lifestyle that you want. But you do have to start thinking about what the end of this journey looks like for you in your business, and then delegate towards it. Because let's face it, you can't be the coach or the practitioner working with people one-on-one forever. At some point, you'll have to transition away. Maybe you want to retire, but you still want some recurring money on the side from your courses and online stuff. Maybe you are envisioning an exit like I had at my studio, where now you have to think about evaluations and systems. Or maybe the end looks like building a legacy brand where it keeps continuing way past your lifetime and it pays you forever. Considering this end is really important, because then you have to combine this end with the life that you want to live in the now. You have to ask yourself what kind of life you want to live while you build your business. Do you want to travel multiple times per year? Do you want multiple rental properties, or take on other projects that aren't related to coaching? Do you want to be present at every parent-teacher meeting and have every weekend and every evening off? Living in the now for me looks like being able to take my business and operate only 6 hours a day with the rest of my systems and team allowing me to do whatever I want. That way, the time that I'm out with friends, or I'm on stage speaking, or I'm rock climbing, my business is still growing and running. And as I look back at the way that I used to run all of my businesses, I ran them all completely differently. I had big teams, I had virtual only teams, I had small teams, but in each of them, I never really had the opportunity to connect to them in a way that I wanted to live. And that's actually why I had to keep transitioning from one business to another business. It wasn't that they weren't successful, they were, but I found myself with the same problem over and over again. It was all dependent on me. I kept thinking to myself that the only way that I can continue to grow is if I take the reins and I get shit done at a really high level that only I know how to do. Only I know how to network and get leads. Only I know how to do a proper client assessment. Only I know how to send an email that gets clients to re-sign and buy again. That control, to me, it felt safe. And it felt safe because I knew the quality of the work that I could put out, and I also knew that I was the one to be held accountable if there was a mistake. But that same safety is what capped my growth. Because I refused to put trust in other people, and because I had a hard time letting go of responsibilities and delegating, it took me the first 7 years of running businesses before I ever hit $1 million. It was only after, in my 8th year of business, when we transitioned online for my hormone coaching company, that's when I really started to break down why I wasn't happy or fulfilled with the businesses that I had in the past. And all of them pointed to the same thing that I already shared with you, which was, what's the end goal of this? Never once did a mentor or any coach I have ever ask me what I actually wanted at the end of the journey of being a coach. And as I thought about this, I realized that the end goal was having a team around me that supported and took away everything that I couldn't stand doing. So that way I could focus on what brings me joy every day, which was client conversations and providing value. That's the only thing I care about now. So things like doing this YouTube channel, doing my Hormone Helper podcast, being a speaker at speaking events, spending my time creating content and new ideas and creating new programs, this is what I want to be doing every day. So if I wanted to have a business that allowed me to operate and work like this while still being able to travel multiple times a year with Lorna and be able to show up to every friend outing and soccer event and whatever with the family, that meant that I could not do this on my own. I needed a team. I needed repeatable systems that worked without me, and I needed to design a business where I could go anywhere and do anything while still helping and signing on new clients. So when I approached my hormone coaching company from that new lens, what's the end goal of this? And I started to trust other people. That's when I started letting go of all of the other things that wasted my time. And I let that go, and I also let go of things that didn't bring me closer to the areas of joy that I wanted to be working in every day. That's when, in that fiscal year, we hit $1.4 million in revenue. We worked with close to 550 clients, and my life felt full. It was freaking fantastic. But I had to let go of all the tasks. I had to move past the giant to-do lists in the booked calendar where I got a lot of work done, but not a lot of growth happened. The first place that I started with this was I had to destroy a big illusion that was floating around in my mind. And maybe this illusion's floating around in yours. And that illusion was, no one can do it like me. I kept thinking this over and over again. No one can do it like me. It has to be me. And that's a recipe for burnout. That way of thinking is what keeps you stuck hitting the same income ceiling and the same client cap month over month, quarter after quarter. Because if you believe in that illusion, then you will keep thinking that you have to have your fingers in everything. And you know where this illusion comes from? It comes from wanting safety. Right now inside your business, you are making good money. You have a busy client schedule. Your routine is super full right now, and you can't take on any more people, and that's really good. So why would you risk that? Why would you risk taking on another person and having to worry about paying them? Why would you put yourself in a position where you have to build out an entire system of trainings and processes and instructions when you're not even sure if this is going to be the thing that takes you to the next level of growth? I had that same fear running through my mind. I've thought many times, what if I waste money? What if I hire these people and they don't get it right? What if in growing my business, I lose connection to my clients? I also felt that same safety. When you finally hit a point where you know exactly what to do and what strategic levers to pull to work with the same amount of clients and make the same amount of money month after month. But guess what? You're still shackled to your business right now. Right now, you have low to no time freedom, and the clients you asked for are wearing you out. So you know this is not sustainable anyways. The goal with business, or at least the realization that I've come down to through owning and operating 3 separate businesses, is that your company's growth will be entirely dependent on your capacity. The more capacity you have, physically, mentally, and emotionally, the more you can focus on big picture items like new programs, hosting retreats, growing your team, creating systems, and other ways to deliver value to clients. The key with delegating and giving these tasks away is that you really have to look at giving the right tasks away first. You can't just give anything and everything. There needs to be a structure to this. With every business I had, I started with low risk tasks. Typically, these are things that just become a huge time suck and that anyone can do as long as you have a process documented that people can follow through. Think about anything admin, payroll, email follow-up, your bookings, contract and form work, posting your content on multiple platforms. This is stuff that you should not be doing, and you should not be doing it for a couple of reasons. One, these things don't make you money. And generating revenue and steady clients is the thing that you should be focusing on. Number two, they're a waste of your knowledge. I mean, why on earth would you, the person who has invested in 10 plus years of training, coaching, and constant mentoring, why would you be reduced to small dinky chore work that someone can learn with a good Loom video and maybe a PDF document? It doesn't make sense. Number three, most of these tasks are highly repetitive. So they can actually be systematized because they have the same go-to answers anyways, and you can give those answers to someone else. So when I look at what I am doing inside of my business, I pop open my calendar, and for the next week, I write minute by minute everything that I have done and how long it took me to do it. And if I have to do the same things more than twice or 3 times, I create a process around it and I give it to someone else. And guess what? When I give it away, I let people make mistakes with it. I let them do 80% and see what that looks like. And then I give them feedback to improve because like your programs, they are an ever-growing thing. Once you have gotten in that moment, you have to give it away and be okay that it's not at 100%. Now, as you get rid of all the low-risk tasks, you then have to put the focus on energy draining tasks. These are tasks that every time you do them, you really struggle and it takes a significant amount of time to recover from. So for most of the coaches that I work with, it's either content or creating funnel systems, things like value draws that bring in clients regularly. Normally, when you do something that takes your energy significantly, it's because either you do not like it or it is something that you are super bad at and you have to try exceptionally hard to make it work. So sure, we can take the time and try to learn and develop a new skill. Like you can learn how to recreate a website 100%. Sure, you can know legal. Yeah, absolutely, you can take that time to learn. But does that really make sense? Normally, this energetic drain is telling you that it is not in your zone of genius. So if it's not in our zone of genius, then we can find another person or put together a system to do it good enough to get us by. So as an example, I used to be very good at sales because I like speaking with people and I was very good at speaking. But I couldn't stand creating content. I used to take 3+ hours getting one post up, which was ridiculous. So now I created systems and a team around editing and posting, and I found a way to use my talent of speaking to create content like what you're listening to and what you're watching on the channel. So now it works for me, and it's very easy for me to do. Get rid of anything that drains your energy. But I'll tell you right now, there are some people when they hear that, they're going to try to get rid of tasks because it's attached to their ego, not because it drains their energy. And this is where people will hire or bring someone on for the wrong things. Like I had a coach tell me they wanted to hire someone to write every caption because they wanted to obsess over making it perfect. That's ego. Your captions don't need to be perfect. Instead, I told them invest that same money in visibility, getting someone to repurpose old content on multiple formats, repurpose the reels, repurpose the carousels, redo the emails. So that way he could expand how many people saw him. That's a task that he didn't need to be doing that can maximize his visibility and get more clients. So as you start to look at what you can delegate and give away, this is where we have to create simple systems around these tasks. You want to make sure that if you are not doing them, that they are done the same way with the same amount of time every single time consistently. Generating things like Loom videos, SOPs. I know some people are not a fan of SOPs, but you've got to have some standard operating practices. Email templates, like a simple question and answer. If this happens, we do this. This will help you replicate outcomes for these tasks. And if they're repeatable, then you can improve on them. So now you have to start working at getting the process out of your head, and you got to put it down in a way where everyone has access to it. Now, I've done this in several ways. The first time, I had my admin sit and watch me for a week with everything that I responded to and everything that I did, because I wanted them to create the training for themselves. Their questions and the way that they saw what I did let them think about these tasks differently, and they got to learn what I was looking for through the process. Now, along the way with my team, I also have a regular habit of having a drive where I film changes and adjustments to our processes. So people are still being kept in the loop, and they're making adjustments with how things change inside of my business. And what you delegate will change. As you learn to trust people, you will naturally want to give away more to them. And you will start looking for other ways or other softwares that you can use to enhance the amount that you can give away. Now, here's the thing with delegation, though. Delegation does not mean abdication. You don't get to just give away something or set up a software to do something, and then you set it, forget it, and you never look at it again, or you never make any adjustments. No, you need to train, review, and improve any processes you make so your system gets stronger and stronger. It's version 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So just like you review your sales and your conversion rates, you should, and you review your landing pages and your offers to see how they're doing, you also need to review and get feedback on whatever you are giving away. How was this task? What was the result of giving it away? What were the consequences of giving it away? Are there any adjustments that need to be made? We have to go through that. Now, most of you, as you've been listening to this, are probably thinking to yourself, well, when do I give this stuff away? When, and pay very close attention here, when is a word that questions your readiness. That's a mindset shift that you need to make into being the CEO of your company. Truthfully, you'll never be ready, but you will always be at capacity when you're growing. Whenever you are growing is the greatest challenge to have because it means you're tight. You're tight on money because you're growing. You're tight on space because you're growing. Everything is going to be capped. The moment you are at capacity for your time and you don't have space to take on anymore, then you need to delegate so you can do less. You have to get over two things for this. One, you got to get the thought of or fear that investing in a person is another cost or it's risky. Investing in help isn't a cost. It's an investment. It's capacity creation. We need that time in that space to be able to put the focus back on filling our cup. We are buying back our time so we don't burn out. And I'll tell you, I buy back my time everywhere that I can. Lauren and I have cleaners come in the house. I hire someone to change my tires on my car, even though I can do it. I'm a licensed mechanic. I hire someone to detail my vehicle. I hire a travel agent to plan and book our trip, even though we could easily do that. But I don't want to do that. My time is valuable, and I don't want to be doing crap when I know that I could be doing something that is more in alignment and that excites me every day. Second thing for this is your need for control. You're not losing control when you are doing less. You're expanding your impact. How do you think these coaches who run 6 different businesses operate? You think they're heavily involved in every one? No, they have people and processes that they trust to keep going. Dragon's Den, Shark Tank, Russell Brunson, Alex Hormozi, Dana White. These people are okay to relinquish control because they know that their vision and their dreams, it can't be something that's built alone. You can get much farther with others besides you pushing and rooting for your dream than you can doing this at a very small level like you are now. Once you shift into this mindset and you finally step into this version of CEO, that's when you will work less than you ever have, but make more money and make more impact than you ever have. But if you stay where you're at now, then your business will never grow beyond what you're willing to let go of. I personally believe that delegation isn't weakness, it's wisdom. You're smart enough to know that you want to go faster, and simply put, you need your time back to do it. And that is one of the most genius realizations that it took for me to be able to take my business to the next level and buy back my time freedom. So learn to start delegating more. And if you want to talk about more about what you can give away, or maybe who you need to hire to give you time back, then I would encourage you to hop on a discovery call with us. Go to growmycoaching.com where you can book a call directly with me and we can chat on how we can help you. That's all I've got to say for this one. Delegate more. Thanks for tuning in again, and we will catch you later.